Assalamu alaikum, I'm Tuba Nafees, and my topic of explanation is DNA extraction from whole blood. I'm pleased to explain you this topic from the platform of Sindh Biotechnologist Association. It will cover the basics of DNA extraction from eukaryotic cells, as in this presentation we are using blood as the source of DNA, and blood cells are eukaryotic. There are three basic steps: cell lysis, separation of DNA from cell debris, and purification of DNA that make the principle of DNA extraction. As you know, DNA resides in cell nucleus in eukaryotic cells. So, in order to expose DNA, we need to break both nuclear and cellular membranes in cell lysis. During this process, not only DNA is released, but other biomolecules like proteins, lipid, RNA molecules are also exposed. Moreover, there are broken cell components and reagents also present in the mixture. So it's important to separate DNA from the cell debris, and we achieve this goal in the second step. After the separation of cell debris from DNA is still contaminated with small portion of proteins and broken cell components. So we need to precipitate DNA for further purification, and we do so by different ways that I will discuss later in the coming slides. Methods of DNA extraction. The selection of right method is very important in DNA extraction because it affects the quality of results. I have listed three common methods of DNA extraction: phenol chloroform extraction, magnetic bead separation, and precipitation chemistry. Out of these, I have selected salting out technique for detailed explanation. Salting out is also called precipitation chemistry as it involves protein precipitation by using high salt concentration. Principally, when the ionic strength of a protein solution is increased by adding salt, the solubility of proteins decreases and proteins precipitate. It means that in excess concentration, salt molecules interact more with water molecules, leaving protein molecules empty. So, protein molecules start interacting with each other with their hydrophobic interaction, and thus precipitate out of the solution. Because protein protein interaction is even stronger than protein salt interaction. Salting out is preferred over other two methods because chemicals in the first method and magnetic beads in the second method that serve the purpose of DNA separation from cell debris cause interference with downstream applications such as PCR. Whereas salting out doesn't use toxic chemicals like phenol chloroform, they are really dangerous to our health. It results in little to no contamination. It doesn't interfere with downstream applications. It gives high yield of DNA and is a very simple and cost effective technique. Reagent system and column system. There are basically two systems for DNA extraction, and you can extract DNA either of the two ways. You can use reagent system or column system for DNA extraction. In reagent system, we simply use Eppendorf or microfuge tubes to carry out the steps of DNA extraction, and in column system, we make DNA binds to the column, usually many columns that have affinity towards DNA molecules, and this step is followed by further washing to get rid of impurities and elution of DNA by using elution buffer. Let's have a look on the overview of DNA extraction by salting out. For cell lysis, we use cell lysis buffer. It uses low concentration of sodium chloride to precipitate cell debris containing detergents, broken proteins, RNA, and lipid molecules, etc. Additionally, we use RNAs to denature RNA molecules and sometimes protease. We use protease usually when extraction method is other than salting out. According to the principle of salting out, we use sodium chloride of high concentration, usually 6 molar, to precipitate proteins, leaving DNA in the supernatant. We collect it in another clean microfuge tube for purification. The purification of DNA can be achieved by ethanol or isopropanol precipitation or mini column binding. Material and methods. Let's discuss in detail about the role of chemicals used in making of cell lysis buffer. Tris HCl maintains pH of the solution because DNA is very pH sensitive. Triton acts as a detergent and breaks cell membrane. Low concentration of sodium chloride clump broken cell components. Magnesium chloride protects the DNA from DNase activity because DNase denature DNA molecule. Sodium chloride and potassium chloride provide positively charged cations that stabilize the backbone of DNA by binding to its negatively charged phosphate groups because they tend to repel each other. EDTA is a chelator. It chelates cofactors necessary for DNase activity. We also use it as an anticoagulant in sample preparation that I will discuss later. SDS, that is sodium rhodesyl sulfate, denature proteins. Sodium chloride with high concentration precipitate proteins, as we have already discussed. Ice cold isopropanol precipitates DNA. The low temperature facilitates precipitation. We can also use ethanol instead of isopropanol. But isopropanol is more effective than ethanol, although it's less volatile than ethanol, so more time is required for air drying if you are using isopropanol. 70% ethanol is used to wash excess salts from the DNA pallet. Now move to sample preparation. Before proceeding to DNA extraction, we have to prepare the sample. We treat the sample with EDTA, ethylene diamine tetraacetic acid. It acts as an anticoagulant and prevents clotting of blood by chelating calcium ions that are necessary for coagulation. EDTA is the best choice for blood DNA extraction as compared to other anticoagulants such as heparin and sodium citrate. If you want to proceed sample within 3 days right after the sample preparation, you can refrigerate it at 4 degree, and if you want to proceed it after a long time, it's recommended to store it at minus 80 degrees centigrade. Next, I am going to discuss all the steps of salting out base DNA extraction. Initially, we add cell lysis buffer to a blood sample and perform invert mixing. Next, we centrifuge the sample at 4000 rpm for 10 minutes to get the pellet containing cell debris, and we discard the supernatant. Then we add SDS solution to the sample to denature proteins. This step is followed by heating at 50 to 56 degrees centigrade for 30 minutes for effective denaturation. Then we add sodium chloride to the mixture, followed by centrifugation at 4500 rpm for 15 minutes to precipitate proteins. This results in DNA and supernatant. We collect the supernatant in another microfuge tube and add 95% ice cold isopropanol to it, again followed by centrifugation at 12,000 rpm for 4 minutes to precipitate DNA. Next, we wash the pellet with 70% ethanol to remove excess salts. We centrifuge the sample at 12,000 rpm for 4 minutes, and then we air dry the pellet. Eventually, we resuspend the pellet in Tris buffer of pH 8 or pure water. DNA molecules are allowed to migrate through a sieve-like matrix, that is gel, in the presence of an electric current. Smaller molecules migrate faster than larger molecules because they are lighter in weight than large molecules. To visualize DNA, the gel is stained with a fluorescent dye, that is ethidium bromide. It's an intercalating agent that inserts between the stacked bases in double-stranded DNA. The stain gel is then placed on a trans illuminator, which will show the stained DNA as orange bands. The length of DNA fragment is compared to a marker containing fragments of known length. In this way, we can determine the molecular weight as well as the concentration of DNA in any band by comparing it with the standard band. To determine the purity of DNA sample, we take absorbance of the extracted DNA at two different wavelengths, 260 and 280 nanometer. And then we find their ratio. DNA absorbs UV light both at 260 and 280 nanometer, while proteins absorb UV at only 280 nanometer. Pure DNA with no protein contamination will give a ratio of 1.8 at 260 to 280. On the other hand, a DNA with protein impurities will give lower value than 1.8. The higher the impurities, the lower will be the value. Let's discuss about applications of DNA extraction. It's important in detection of genetic diseases like sickle cell anemia, cystic fibrosis, or any other disease. It's a prerequisite for genome sequencing to study the function of genes. In forensic science, it helps to determine paternity by DNA fingerprinting. It's useful in detection of viruses and bacteria. Like hepatitis B virus, adenovirus. These are basically DNA viruses, and different soil bacteria can be identified by extracting their DNA. Production of biopharmaceutical products like hormones, vaccines require DNA extraction, and the development of genetically modified organisms, GMOs, by genetic engineering also require DNA extraction. Thank you for listening to this presentation. I hope you like it. If you have any query or question related to this session, you can leave your question in the comment section. Moreover, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share SBA videos.